The Toyota Tacoma has been a staple in the midsize truck segment, really dominating it compared to the other brands. It's kind of revered for its durability, its off-road capability, it has great aftermarket support, and really, overall reliability is the key factor. So, does the 2025 stack up to the previous generations? We're going to look at the data for the reliability and at least what we know so far. I will say, out of the gate, it does look like it's a little bit more reliable than the Tundra. Now, if it's me, I'm going to be looking at least cross-shopping the Tacoma with the Colorado or the Canyon. They are 310 horsepower, 430 foot-pounds of torque, so that's quite a bit more base. The Tacoma is 310 horsepower and 317 foot-pounds of torque, so almost over 100 foot-pounds of torque less in the base Tacoma. That's a lot of difference in torque. You're going to feel that in the seat of the pants. Now, the Tacoma does have the hybrid powertrain, which is going to give you 465 foot-pounds of torque, but then you get all the complexity of the hybrid, and it costs quite a bit more. So I'm really going to start out with maybe what the problems are that I see people having, and then kind of get into the more positive stuff towards the end. So if you're someone that just hates looking at negative stuff, skip ahead. But I do like to show what actual customers are going through with the vehicle. You remember that TFL video where they had the front differential fail? We hadn't really seen any others with that same problem, but I did find one guy in the Facebook groups. I thought this was interesting and hopefully not a sign to come, because he looks like he's kind of an overland off-roader. He said he originally had a 2024 which had the front diff fail and no estimate on back-ordered parts, so the dealer worked with him to upgrade to the 25. That's kind of like a quiet issue, and it never really came up again. So it'll be interesting to see if that surfaces as they get a little bit older. I mean, TFL's busted in sort of a high torque environment is what they called it, and they supposedly rewrote the software so that wouldn't happen again. I wonder if this one, the original 24 he had, broke before they updated the software. The other issue that I had a concern with when I watched TFL's towing video, when they did a towing video near me up a big mountain, and this guy seems to have the same kind of complaint or concern. He said his biggest takeaway from the weekend was his truck needs a better way to cool the transmission when in 4 high. They basically said that in the TFL video as well, where their transmission temperature got insanely high when they were towing. The most recent transmission problem I see here is January 8th, 2025. The transmission for this vehicle has been rough shifting. That was the first one here that you see with less than 5,000 miles on it. The second one down, number 37, it says this morning his transmission failed. He started the truck and put it into reverse, at which point the truck shuddered for several seconds. At this point, many warning light messages entered the instrument cluster. He essentially had to go to the Toyota dealership. The warning codes were checked, and he was told that his transmission was bad and needed to be replaced. Told it would need a new torque converter assembly, new automatic transmission assembly, and new hybrid module assembly. Total cost for the parts would be $27,504. Of course, covered by warranty, but can you imagine if that was a used vehicle? Oh my gosh. Ooh. I wouldn't want one of these out of warranty, let's just say that. Now, what does concern me is this was posted on January 8th. He said it has less than 800 miles on the vehicle. Man, that is a really recent failure, and Toyota knew about this transmission issue a long time ago, months ago. That's still concerning that they're still out there and still having some issues, although it is a 2024. And again, in December 1st of 2024, his new 2024 Tacoma TRD Pro with 2,440 miles experienced transmission failure. A lot of these have been brought up in the past, and I do think they were probably part of the initial TSB or set of VINs that were the problem with this. He ended up having a bad transmission. Not terrible as far as the NHTSA complaints are concerned. If you look at 190-some thousand trucks, and we're not seeing, hundreds and hundreds of complaints. Now, not everybody's going to write a complaint here, so that's the thing. I'm sure there's more people that have the problem. And when I look at the NHTSA website, by the way, I'm not trying to dissuade anybody from buying the Tacoma. I actually just noticed this. I don't know why I didn't notice it before. I didn't notice the overall frontal crash star rating was 3-star. It simulates the head-on collisions. I haven't looked at the report of why it's only 3-star, but that was interesting. It's just something to consider. When I look at engine problems on the 2024 Tacoma on the NHTSA website, I don't really see anything here that looks concerning, not like the Tundra. One guy says the engine is noisy during takeoff and it sounds like rod knock, but some people hear the direct injection systems in these newer vehicles and they kind of do sound a little diesel-y, if that makes sense. If you've ever heard even GM's 2.7 kind of sounds like that. But that's only 2 out of 192,000. The next problem that you'll probably hear about is the brake line. And I'll show you a photo of it here. So here's a good photo of what the rear brake line was designed like. I personally think this is a bad design. I don't think they tested it a lot in heavy mud and snow and ice, but that's just me. A lot of people won't care. These are mall crawling trucks, and a lot of folks won't even have them off-road that much. Now, as far as off-road cred is concerned, I think they could redesign this brake line, probably be fine and kind of outside the wheel housing. Just looks like an oversight on the design to me. Not the end of the world, not going to stop people from buying them, obviously. The next most well-known problem is the shock top hat failure on the 2024s. You could probably remember this from Taco Garage. It was posted, but essentially the top hat fails in these. There is a really cheap fix from Icon Solutions and there are other fixes out there too. They're not super expensive, just sort of an annoyance. And I'm sure Toyota's going to update the design if they keep seeing these fail under warranty. And there are other small issues like this engine shake at idle when they stop with the HVAC on. Other people have had the same problem. It doesn't seem like a lot of people, but it's definitely more than a couple. And this guy says, it's odd, out of all the YouTube bashing on the internet, nobody has picked up on this issue yet. Well, there you go, buddy. I hope you're happy I picked up on it. There are all sorts of little kind of nitpick complaints in here. I see this in every brand, so I'm not going to go through these all. I'm really concerned with major powertrain problems, and I don't see a lot with Tacoma. After that initial transmission TSB, we haven't seen engine failures, at least yet. And I think it's been pretty solid as far as the powertrain goes. People overwhelmingly sound like they actually like driving the truck compared to the previous one. Now, I'm not talking about long-term reliability. We won't know that for years. It's at least a better start than the Tundra. And I like being fair and balanced on this channel. This is what I see most of the time from Tacoma owners. This guy says 7,800 miles. He loves the truck. That's what I see overwhelmingly in the Facebook groups and forums, that people really do enjoy driving it. They think it's a smooth ride. They like the powertrain a lot better than the old one. For what it's worth, almost everybody likes all of the upgrades that Toyota did. They like the way it looks. They like the way it rides. They like the powertrain. It's just that question mark in their head of whether or not this turbo powertrain in the 8-speed will be reliable long term. Again, nobody has a crystal ball. So, if you want to take your chances, go for it. I actually wanted to look at sales numbers. This shows you how numbers can sometimes be a little misleading. So in 2024, they sold 192,000 Tacomas. 2023, 234,000. 2022 is kind of a COVID rebound year, not really going to count that. 2021, 252,000. 2020, 238,000. As you can see, all the way down to about 2017 was the last time they were in the 190,000 range for sales. But there is a catch. And if you look at 2024, that's when they really had low stock in January, February, March, really even April. And everybody knows this, that there was low stock. So when you look at their statistics for 2024, I think they're a little bit skewed. I think if they had stock like they have stock now, I think you'd be seeing the same numbers like 230, 240,000. Look at 2025 now with stock, we're up to 18,000 in January and 17,000 in February. So good sign for sales. Not that that means anything, but it does imply that people are researching, they're driving the vehicles, and they're actually liking what they drive. Just talking sales numbers, I actually like TFL's website, the way they combine General Motors. If you look at GM, so the Canyon and the Colorado, they're up 45% year over year. So compared to 2023 to 2024, the GM combined is 136,000, Toyota's 192,000. The Nissan Frontier is down at 68,000. Nissan is up 17% from the previous year. The Ford Ranger is a little bit below that, and the Honda Ridgeline. Now, if you're looking at these, if you're just saying reliable, all I care about is reliable long term, I'm going to keep this truck for 10 or 15 years, which not a lot of people do, but If that's you, then it's going to be probably Frontier, Ridgeline, and Gladiator, honestly. Now let's get into, the price and sales and things like that. I just did this video a couple days ago, and this is what you'll see on a lot of Toyota lots, at least in Denver and Colorado area, and I hear across the country it's very similar. You're going to see just lines of Tacomas and Tundras, which should mean better deals down the road. Toyota's directive to the dealers, they said their directive is to build more, sell more, which usually means that discounts are coming. I hope so. So the 2024s have a little better financing, 3.99% at 60 months. Now when I do a nationwide search, the cheapest 2024 SR5 looks like a long bed crew cab coming in at $36,968. But that's a four-wheel drive in Florida. So what you're going to see is the lowest prices are going to be coming in like Florida and Texas and maybe California for these four-wheel drives. And then everywhere else that actually wants the four-wheel drive, it's going to be a lot higher price. Most of the TRD Sports are coming in around $41,000 and up. Now, if you're kind of on the fence between the Tacoma and the Frontier, I think you can find a better deal on the Frontier. This is $33,000 for an SV. I'd say the SV is kind of comparable to the SR5 in the Tacoma. So I will say, if I'm comparing the Tacoma to the Tundra, at least like first model year to first model year, I think the Tacoma is definitely doing a lot better as far as just overall quality, reliability overall so far. It seems to be a little bit ahead of where the Tundra was in 2022, which makes sense. Toyota was really struggling with that. Now, if you're talking long-term reliability, I have no idea what's going to happen with these. It's just going to depend, like what's your risk tolerance and are you keeping it out of warranty? I think given the Tacoma's issues that we've seen, all the little things, it feels like almost like the things you'd see in like a Chevy or a Ford or something, where they've got electronic problems, they've got some camera issues, they've got grill shutter issues, all these just little things, paint issues. It's like hit or miss. So I would just go, if I'm keeping something in warranty and then getting rid of it at 100,000, it's another thing. General Motors, I think, has a 100,000 mile warranty on that 2.7 liter. I mean, it's tough to beat that. Now, I get that some people are just going to say Toyota's a better brand overall. They just have better quality. In the past, I think they have. Anymore, I'm just not sure. I'm not convinced yet. So time will tell, but these Colorados and Canyons look pretty cool. Hope this helps you out. Till next time, thanks for watching.